Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one. Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. On bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle family Gradunzo.
Mamma mia.
And now,
Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
number 4, armbar.
I will never retire.
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, fellow B Plus players, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Saturday. You know what that means. It's time for the View from the WWE Universe NXT edition. Today we are taking a look at everything that happened this week in NXT UK, NXT proper, of course, and we're going to preview NXT Takeover, which, as you listen to this, takes place tomorrow. NXT Takeover Phoenix, right before the Royal Rumble. There's a whole bunch of awesome stuff going on for the Royal Rumble weekend. And joining me to talk about it, as ever, Big Boy Mikey. How are you, Big Boy?
Good, buddy. How you going? The dream team's back.
The dream team is back. We talk about we watch too many wrestling shows. I think that's I don't want to call it a problem because I like it. It's
but
it's
to be honest,
problem to have.
To be honest, I appreciate, as much as I'm going to miss CJ, I appreciate not being on the WWE main show every week because, to be fair, as much as I try and watch everything, I'll watch everything WWE, but I just don't have that excitement for Raw and SmackDown. Oh, SmackDown's actually not too bad, but just don't have that excitement anymore.
The last couple of weeks have been better.
Yeah, it actually has been. I'm liking this.
I'm watching in highlight format because it's just so much easier, and for the hours that you would normally spend watching Raw or SmackDown, I find more enjoyment watching, like we talk about on King of Sports Universe, watching a Rev Pro show or watching, the latest SPW Fight Nights, etc., etc. So it's working out well for me that CJ and Danders are happy to take over the main roster stuff.
Absolutely. But love talking NXT, so I'm stoked to be part of the WWE Universe NXT team. The
next team.
The King of Sports team turns into the NXT team. Love it.
Yeah. Well, we're the team that talk about real wrestling.
Right.
That's why eventually we're ultimately going to have a podcast each week dedicated just to Gavin McGavin.
I'm happy with that.
Because we are the real wrestling team. No, no, shots fired. It's Civil War Part 4. No, let's take a look. So, of course, the NXT universe is going to include NXT UK, and should in the future an NXT Australia join the fray, or an NXT Japan, or whatever may come, this is where it will be. It will be in this podcast, the NXT edition of the WWE Universe. just because I think NXT Universe sounds weird. So, so I think the NXT edition of the WWE Universe, that's what we're going to call it. Let's start with NXT UK this week, I think, because, you know, obviously we have NXT and Takeover to get to. So I think we should probably start with NXT UK, hot off the heels of Takeover Blackpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of this week's episode, man?
Oh, awesome, man. Like, there's a couple of matches one match I really loved. One debut that I really loved. But yeah, like a really solid show. I'm really in love with NXT UK. I didn't think I was going to find something that was going to outdo me with NXT, but NXT UK is, I don't know, something about it that's attracted me more so than regular NXT, which is crazy. But yeah,
that is crazy. I don't know if I would go that far. I don't know if I'd say. I think that NXT UK is still trying to sort of find its feet, but you know, an hour-long wrestling TV show really lives and dies by the opener and the closer. And by that token, this week's episode was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
So this week's episode started, of course, with Pete Dunne coming out, cutting a promo about still being champ. Joe Coffey comes out. Everyone hates it because, come on, Joe, you already lost. Go away. Gallus are with him, of course. And Coffey rants on about how he's going to win the title. And if anyone has a problem with that, they can get in line. And you can imagine where this is going. Lights go out. Cue Volta with the most hype entrance ever. Just the silhouette, that single white light, and his massive frame standing on the stage, and that beautiful music, and the crowd are singing it, and then the lights come back up, and there he is, Volta in all his glory, and he walks down to the ring. How good is Volta's entrance in NXT UK?
Beautiful, yeah. Isn't it crazy that nearly 2 years since Pete Dunne won that title? Just wanted to put that in there. Almost 2 years, like about a year and a half now. It's just insane. I think Walter will be the person that takes it from him when the time comes, but what an impressive run. But yeah, back to Walter. Oh my Lord, that entrance. Like, this is a guy that I stared at in the face about, 2 months ago for World Series Wrestling, however long it was. He is he's a big man, a posing man, like, and that Symphony No. 9 music entrance is just, it's just perfect. Like, it's just perfect. You know what? I want to make a note. I'm going to say this a couple of times through the night and over the next couple of weeks, NXT UK. How well do the NXT UK guys dress? Just want to point it out there. The NXT UK guys, everyone from Gibson, Drake, all the boys, they all dress just super well. There's massive difference between the NXT UK guys and NXT guys when they dress. It's just phenomenal.
Well, no, the NXT guys all look dapper in their suits as well. But
Gallus coming out in those like suave shirts. I'm like, God, it's just phenomenal. But
so they go to the traditional English tailors on the corner. You know, they get that more personalized approach. I think that's what it is.
Right.
You know, no suits in a box for these guys.
Yeah.
I always said that about the British strong style guys. They always look dapper as fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
Man. Like, that's the word, man. They just look insanely dapper. But just go on. I want to go back to Volta for a second. The announcers called him the Austrian Anomaly. Really?
Yeah.
What an awful fucking nickname. I'm sorry. The Austrian Anomaly? It doesn't make any sense. Why is he an anomaly? What, are other Austrians not as big as him? I've seen plenty of huge Austrians, thank you very much. I just don't understand. Why is he an Austrian anomaly? Why do you need a name that alliterates? What's wrong with the ring general? He is the ring general. That's who he is.
And he had the ring general thing on his jacket too on the way in, so I don't know what this...
Yeah. They have that clause in his contract, right, where if he's not happy after 6 months, he can leave. So don't be pulling shit like Austrian anomaly. Yeah. Okay, call him the ring general, because that's what he is. And I feel like he would not like you calling him the Austrian anomaly, and I feel like he will chop you, and he will walk out on his contract, because he has the right to do that. So just cut the nicknames if you want to keep the Walter.
Yeah, true. Couple of questions for this. Like, where do you think? So, do you think Walter goes through Gallus one by one, leading to Dunne, or do we get Walter Dunne Coffey?
Interesting. Yeah. Probably on the TV. Yeah, leading into the next takeover, he'll take them each down, leading to Joe Coffey, and then of course, earning himself a number one contendership spot somehow. Yeah, because he's got to be the one to take it off Pete Dunne, right? At the next takeover.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, I don't know. The rumors right that not Thatcher. Dragunov is signed, right?
Yeah, Ilya Dragunov.
So whether he comes in, I don't know, does Walter align himself with Aichner and Barthel? What's wrong with the German, Austrian, and Italian gaining up, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like, do you see like a ring camp versus Gallows type thing soon? Like one day?
Yeah, I don't know. See, people are talking about that. Like, will they put ring camp back together? If they do, I mean, they have to have Marcel Bartel ditch the name and come back to being Axel Dieter Jr. I think. I don't know. It's weird to me. I mean, they've got Marcel Bartel with
Eichner,
with Fabian Eichner, right? And I find them a very entertaining team. We'll talk about it when we get to NXT this week. I find them to be a very entertaining team. I don't think you need to mess with that. You've started doing it already, and it works. Let Volta just be Volta. He doesn't need ring camp. He is strong enough as an individual. If he wants to set up something new, set up something new. But all this pining for, keep the WXW stable there or what have you. I don't know. I don't know if that's really necessary at this point in time.
True.
You know?
But it'd be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah, I definitely believe Walter Dunn's going to happen at either NXT Mania weekend, maybe an NXT UK title match gets on that as a showcase, or the next NXT.
No, you can't. You need to get eyes on the actual NXT UK show. You don't want to waste. You don't want to throw that onto an NXT Takeover Mania that everyone's going to watch anyway. Yeah. 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, you have the next NXT Takeover. This time, NXT UK Takeover. This time in London. Put it somewhere bigger and give Volta the shot against. Maybe even take it to Germany, right? NXT UK Takeover Amsterdam or something. I don't know. Is Amsterdam? That's not even in Germany. That's Berlin. There we
that's
go.
Netherlands, but that's all right.
I know what I'm talking about. They all speak Dutch, right? Anyway. I just want to reiterate this. Do not call him the Austrian anomaly. And I think as well, the only problem is he probably won't win it at the next takeover. It might be the takeover after, because if he has that stipulation in his contract where he can leave after 6 months if he's not happy, I don't think you want to put the title on him for the first 6 months, because I think, you don't want him walking out with the title.
Or do you give it to him to make him say?
Well, there you go. It's a fine line that they are walking. I really enjoyed this next part, though. Sid Scala announces that not only are NXT UK taking part in the When Worlds Collide tournament, which is being taped for the network at this Royal Rumble Access weekend, but they are also filming 3 episodes of weekly NXT UK TV in Phoenix. So I think it's pretty cool. It's weird that it's NXT UK and it's being filmed in America with all the other NXTs, but I think we'll see some interesting stuff happen on that.
Yeah, some NXT UK US crossovers will be good. I think it'll be.
Yeah, and also the benefit of being in Phoenix is we don't get all the damn sing-song chants from the crowd where I'm trying to figure out what the fuck they're saying in their weird British accents. All this shit about shoes and stuff. Half the time I can't understand what they're singing.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna
just chant like a normal person. You gotta sing a song for. It's like Mary frickin' Poppins.
Got an insider there now. My mate Liam, who you met today, he was actually in the front row of that of this week's NXT UK. He's actually front row. He's on camera a lot. Actually, he's in the nice bright yellow jumper. And I was to talk to him about some of these chants. I'm like, what the fuck are half of these?
Yeah, anytime I mention it to any of our UK friends, they're just like, oh yeah, that's just the UK crowd. That's just what they do. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's awful and they shouldn't. But, they seem to enjoy themselves, which is what it's all about at the end of the day, really.
Every football match.
Then we get... Then we get the media trying to talk to the angry young vets, grizzled young vets, sorry. Angry young vets. The media trying to talk to the grizzled young vets, but Gibson tells them to sod off, basically, because, in the lead-up, all the media just wanted to talk to Moustache Mountain. So now you can wait. And honestly, good. The best kind of heel is a heel that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like, I want to cheer for you because you're right, but God, you're obnoxious, right? Like Daniel Bryan at the moment, too. It's So when Gibson busts out, I'm like, hey, yeah, they are like that. But do you have to tell them to jog on? Like, don't be such a dick.
Luciano, we know you're right, but just come on.
yeah. I love that Big Fudge is going to get more votes than anyone when his actual platform is dump garbage into the ocean. Anyway, we bleed into Australia talk too much. We got to stay focused. This is the UK. Nina Samuels, Lana Austin, the prima donna. What a great move that is for a finish.
Awesome. This is my little pop of the night. Lana Austin. I love Lana Austin. She's not one of the greatest in rings, but I find her very entertaining. There's a very, not to be racist. Is it racist if you do British comparisons? But very Paige-esque. She's still young, and she's got 3 kids and stuff. Like, it's crazy. The current Future Shock Wrestling Women's Champ. Yeah, she's cool, man. I really love Lana Austin. Obviously, she was there as a bit of a pin eater. I don't know if she's in the NXT UK PC now or anything, but I hope she stays around and gets the proper.
No, I think she was just brought in as a jobber for this one go round. But if she impresses, they'll.
Definitely. But
they'll bring
speaking
of
impressed,
then we move on to Moustache Mountain. Cutting a promo. This is sort of the post takeover Blackpool promos that you always get, and they're saying that the goal is still to get the tag team titles.
So we'll get a rematch on that for sure. That'd be good. Because that first match was just amazing at Blackpool at Takeover. Drake and Gibson and Moustache Mountain, just fantastic.
Oh, it was an amazing match. That was, I mean, the show never really quite recovered from that match. It was a good show still. I still enjoyed the show, but I liked the main event more than a lot of people did. But yeah, the show never recovered from that match. That was an incredible match. And I even said that if it weren't for that Volta closing angle, you really easily could have had, and really you could have had the Volta angle anyway, but you could have quite easily had that tag match close the show.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a tag team title match, and if you want to say your tag team title is just as valuable as your singles title, then you have it main event sometimes, right? And so I felt like at the UK Takeover, if they had that match main event, and then maybe after winning the titles, Gibson and Drake keep laying the boots into Moustache Mountain, and then out comes Pete Dunne to run them off.
Yeah.
And then out comes Volta. You still get the big close with Pete Dunne and Volta, and you don't have Joe Coffey in the main event because he doesn't necessarily belong there, but these guys do. Yeah. So I think, a little shuffle. Hindsight's always 20/20, but we also saw Tony Storm. Basically, I think the question was, did the Mae Young Classic change you? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, I like that.
This wasn't the best promo, but
wasn't a good promo. But I like that answer. As a fan of wrestling promotions that do a lot of tournaments, like New Japan, and I know you love Stardom, and that tournaments are meant to change you. Like, that's part of tournament or like G1 type style. They're meant to change you, and I like that answer. Like, did it change you? Yep. I love it.
Yeah, and she also referenced coming back from a back injury, having changed her as well, and so. She wants to take the division to new heights. It's pretty generic stuff, but Tony's just likable.
Yeah.
She's just likable. She's not great on the stick or anything. Like, Rhea Ripley is highly entertaining whenever she gets out there to talk. Yeah. Tony Storm's less so, but she's just inherently likable. So it works. Yeah. And then we get Eddie Dennis versus, was it Jamie Ahmed? I didn't quite catch this bloke's name.
Yeah, Jamie Ahmed. Speaking of really impressive, Eddie Dennis. I'm really impressed by Eddie Dennis. He is everything that a big, lanky man like him should be.
See, he doesn't really do it for me. I talked about it on the Takeover podcast. The Takeover match was great. Catching Dave Mastiff. I mean, Dave Mastiff is a massive unit, and so powering around Dave Mastiff was impressive, but. Then you put him on TV and you put him in there against these guys, and it's just, I don't know, he loses that special something extra.
I get what you mean, but I like the look of him. I think he's got star written all over him. Like, he's been going for a while. I think he's already in about 8-9 years into his career. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they got something with him. obviously this NXT UK talent roster and only having one singles title is going to be hard, but Eddie Dennis does look like that could be a future NXT UK champ. Obviously, the line's deep there with many other guys, but yeah, I like him. Yeah, Jamie Ahmed, I really hadn't heard much of him. I did a little bit of research before the cast. Found out he was trained by Jake the Snake Roberts. There you go. And he's been around for about 16 years, and he's only 29 years old. So, fuck. I know.
He's not the one that's claiming that Jake the Snake ripped him off 10 grand, is he?
I wouldn't surprise me. I don't know, but he's known as Screwface on the UK indie scene. I haven't heard of him, but
yeah,
did my research.
Me neither. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's why we're here. But I will say the stall superplex that Eddie Dennis does is very, very impressive. I do enjoy that. But Eddie wins. Pretty standard squash match. Next week we're going to get Moustache Mountain versus European Union, and this is a big thing with NXT UK. They seem to rely on this foreigners are evil thing too much. I mean, so okay. Devlin is bad because he loves Ireland. I mean, also he's a dick about it, but he loves Ireland, so he's the bad guy because he's from Ireland. Gallus, they're from Scotland, and they're bad because they're from Scotland. Yeah. And then, who else have we got? Obviously, we've got the European Union. It's a German and an Italian, so they're bad too because they're German and Italian. It's a little bit weak. And as a person who's not even from the UK, like if this is actual resentment that exists in the UK where actual everyday British people, and I don't know any who are like this, but actual everyday British people are like, yeah, Germans and Italians can sod off. If that's an actual attitude that they're exploiting for ratings, I mean, good on you. But this does air to an international audience as well, and yeah, it's a little bit lost on me. It's
to be fair, it's actually like, yeah, okay, I know what NXT UK are doing here with. I mean, you got an Austrian, a Kiwi, and I think Mark Andrews is Welsh. Don't quote me on that, but you got a couple of them still being faced. But I mean, it's just like America. It's just like WWE America. Everyone that's fucking like anyone that's not American is a freaking heel half the time. Like it's just where the WWE want to present things. I guess even in NXT, like anyone that's international, if you're Canadian or Mexican, you're apart from Lucha House Party, you've always been a heel. Like, or if you're Russian, you're always a bad guy. It's just like I don't know. It does frustrate me a bit. It's just like why does, especially coming from an Italian heritage and a Scottish heritage, why are we the bad guys?
Yeah, I don't know if NXT do that a lot. I mean, Hideo Itami came in as a face. Shinsuke came in as a face.
Yeah, actually, NXT regular haven't known.
Sami Zayn was Canadian and he was a face. I feel like NXT has avoided that. It is a very WWE thing to have the foreign heel. It's very WWE, but it's very 80s. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. I've noticed it and I don't like it. I just think it's, especially as a foreigner myself looking in on this, I'm like, well, you know what? The UK guys are foreign to me too. So boo the UK guys. Like, it's weird to me. But then we get a match that is kind of based around all this patriotic stuff, right? Like Devlin tells Banks, you don't love your country because you left and moved to England. And it's like, well, Devlin, excuse me, champ, where are you wrestling right now?
Yeah, but holy shit.
Pot, meat, kettle.
Yeah, but holy shit, what a match, right?
Oh yeah, this was better than Devlin versus Balor. Don't at me.
No, I agree with that. Only because, like, as much as I love Balor, I love Banks more than Balor, so I'm going to agree with that. But yeah,
I think the Balor moment at the Takeover was great, but I think that this match would have been way better served to be on that Takeover.
And I love that this feud's going to continue. This feud's going to be strong. I love it.
Yeah, because the match ended, of course, in a double countout, and just the way they got there was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are two guys that, nearly any UK promotion is the top guy. Any UK promotion. These guys are going to be stuck in a bit of the... Well, I mean, they main evented this card, I guess. But, most takeovers and that, they're going to be the openers. They're going to be the mid-card guys for now. But I can't see Devlin and Banks not being involved in title title storylines by the end of the year for sure, because both of these guys are marketable guys, whether you want to be face or heel. Whether it's a face or heel guy, I love this feud, love it going forward. And you know me, I'm a massive Travis Banks massive mark.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Better Finn Balor.
Yeah.
So yeah, his whole import killer thing in OTT was incredible, and I want someone to replicate that here. I want Matty Wahlberg to replicate that here now that he's taken down Jimmy Havoc. So and we're back to Australia. Can't help ourselves.
Watch global, sport local. Come on, it's all right.
Very sorry about this, guys, but no. So they had some amazing spots in this match. That Spanish fly to the floor, holy fuck! They did the double down was impressive too. Like, I mean, you used to double downs. Oh, we run at each other and we hit each other and we fall, or we beat each other up until we fall. This one was great. It was a Spanish fly, but they both immediately popped up. Fighting spirit on display, and then clothesline, and immediately after laying in the clothesline, Travis Banks goes down and Devlin goes down, and it was just a really interesting double down to watch. It was like a play on the fighting spirit style double down, and I really enjoyed it. And then Devlin being out on his feet, like they did that whole wrist lock strike sequence, fantastic. And the lariat into the headbutt. Just holy shit! Like I was just for the last 5-10 minutes of this match, I was just on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
you know, just what's going to happen? Nails digging into my leg, you know. And then he actually picked him up. Correct me if I'm wrong, because my audio cut out on the feed I was watching. But Devlin got him up as if he was going to go for the Kiwi Crusher.
Yeah,
right. Like he was going to hit him with his own move, and then he couldn't lift him properly, and they both crashed to the outside, and that's where we get the double count out. So this match is going to go another one. I hope they can find a way to stretch it to the next takeover, because I really think this is worthy of a good 17 to 24 minute takeover match.
So do I. I actually did a little bit of research on this. I wanted to see how many times these guys had actually faced. They've only faced each other twice.
Twice outside NXT.
Yeah. And Banks has won both. Devlin's never been able to beat him, but they did just recently tag with Dan Maloney against British Strong Style in that Losers Leave Fight Club Pro match about 2 months ago. So, but yeah, like I don't know, I love to see this keep going forward. The roster for NXT UK, before we wrap up the NXT UK part, it's a strong roster now. I mean, even the females division, like Nina Samuels look strong tonight. The male division, like Eddie Dennis, Travis Banks, Devlin, all look strong. I mean, I don't know. It's a deep roster. It's a very talented roster.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. You know, some people think that's a problem because they think it's taking away from the UK scene, but I think the UK has a relatively deep talent pool, and I think they're going to be fine.
Absolutely. We've said this before. I think the difference between maybe the top 5 in NXT UK than the rest of the Super UK talent, like the Skirls, the Sabres, the Ospreys, is a big difference. Like it's like the couple guys in NXT UK. So you got Dunn, Banks, Devlin, Walter now, Bates, Seven. Then you got that big gap with guys like Osprey, Skirl, Sabre, Haskins, all those sort of guys. So there's still so much talent out there. It's ridiculous, but
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Christmas has come and gone, and with it, the disappointment of those Secret Santa staples, the shave kit, the sports hygiene packs, and seasonal socks is fading. As we roll on, though, into the new year, it's time to make resolutions. So why not resolve to look better in 2019 and get yourself the gift that keeps on giving and never disappoints, Threadbox. Threadbox is a subscription clothes shopping service which for as little as $40 per month will send you a box of personally curated goodies straight to your doorstep. I get the $160 package which comes with over $200 worth of fresh goodies each month. Kept me looking fly for all my Christmas engagements this year. You get to communicate with the Threadbox stylist assigned to you by email regarding what it is you need, and they will tailor the box accordingly. And in the unlikely event that you don't like what they send you, you send it back, they will replace it with something new and make note of the things you don't like so that they can avoid that kind of thing in the future. Threadbox is a truly unbelievable service that no man should be living without, so head over to threadbox.com.au today and use our code TheB+15 when you check out to get 15% off your first box. January is here and we are fast approaching WrestleMania season. Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania are around the corner, so the time to dilly-dally is past us. If you want to experience WrestleMania live, and who doesn't, let's be honest, you deserve it. The best and really the only way to do it is with All Aussie Travelers. All Aussie Travelers are new to the wrestling travel package game, but they are veterans at travel, and they have put together a package that cannot be beaten. For less than $7,500, All Aussie Travelers are going to send you to New York, New York, with return flights, airport transfers, full accommodation, and tickets to the WWE Hall of Fame, NXT pre-show party, NXT Takeover, WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and more. The coolest part about these packages is that for NXT Takeover, Raw, and SmackDown, you are going to be seated in your own private VIP suite, normally not available to the public, but All Aussie Travelers have you covered, man. They got this locked down. It has its own bar, it has its own bathroom access, and all the luxuries that a VIP box comes with, not least of which, of course, an incredible view for everything happening in the ring. All of this for under $7,500. They're practically giving these packages away, man. You'd be crazy not to check it out. So head over to All Aussie Travelers on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. And tell them that the B+ sent you. And let's go watch WrestleMania in style. Now let's move on to NXT US, I guess. Do we call it NXT US? It's just NXT,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah. NXT North America. NXT North America.
Yeah. And then, does that mean that the UK title is equal to the North American title and the NXT title is like the NXT World title? Because I feel like the UK title's been defended in more places than the NXT title.
Yeah, for sure it has been. And I don't know, and if I feel weird that it's still the WWE UK title. It should just be the NXT UK title. But anyway.
No, I think they've called it the NXT UK title now. I think they've sort of renamed it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Triple H, if you're going to have a territory system under your control, get your naming in order. We need to know, man. We need to know what's going on. Because if you're going to have an NXT Japan, NXT, say for example, NXT Japan, NXT Australia, NXT UK, and NXT America in the next 5 years, right? You want to have an NXT World title that travels around all of them. And then you want each to have their own singles title, women's title, tag team titles, right? Yeah. Or would you have one tag team title for all of them?
No, I do a single male, single female, and a tag. These days you've got to do a freaking female tag half the time. But no, you got to do single male, single female.
Well, let's get to that actually. The women's tag. There was some women's tag building on this show, and I think it's because of what I'm talking about, this NXT, well, not just NXT, but this whole idea of WWE as a new territory system. But let's go through top to bottom, and we'll get to it. Velveteen Dream kicks off the show. We've got another show starting with a talky bit. Velveteen Dream kicks off the show. Before we get into the show, is Dream going to show up in the Royal Rumble?
I feel like he is. I've actually got this question right here in my notes. Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, both Cole and Velveteen are involved in the Worlds Collide thing this weekend, but I mean, Adam Cole was in last year's Rumble. Which member of UE was in the greatest? Roddy Strong was in the greatest Royal Rumble. But
and him and Daniel Bryan chopped the shit out of each other.
So is it Velveteen or does Cole get another spot in the Rumble again? I don't know, but I think
no, it's got to be Velveteen Dream. He's not on the card this weekend at all for Takeover.
Neither is Cole.
So
neither is Cole.
No, I know, but I feel like it's Velveteen Dream shows up in the Rumble. I don't necessarily think it means he's getting called up.
Test the water.
But I think he shows up in the Rumble. How good would it be if he showed up in the Rumble and he's wearing tights that say "Thank you, Vince"?
Imagine that.
Right, because he did the "Call Me Up, Vince" one. I just think it'd be hilarious.
Because I think he gets caught up after Mania.
Yeah. But anyway, so with that done and that to the side, we hope that Velveteen Dream gets into the Rumble. So Dream says that there's a sparkle in his eye, and it is that of the North American Championship gold. But Adam Cole interrupts him with Bobby Fish in tow, of course, and he says that 2019 is going to be the year of Undisputed Era because they're going to have all the gold, which they said last year, and it didn't happen. So he tells Velveteen that he can continue to dream on. And then Bobby tells him he lives in a fantasy world and it's their era and that is undisputed. I love this part because the crowd were just chanting, "Shut up, Bobby." Like they let Adam Cole talk. When Bobby Fish gets on the mic, they're like, "Shut up, Bobby." Like, what did he do?
He's just not Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole talks way more. Let Bobby have a turn. Anyway, yeah, and then Dream's like, "I'm ready to dispute that claim, but only if it's okay with Adam." You know, implying that Adam Cole's kind of like the daddy. And that pisses Bobby off, and he charges the ring, and then Dream tosses them both out and retreats. It was a pretty fun segment.
Yeah, I liked it. And obviously this led to them announcing Fish versus Dream for later in the night.
Yeah, how do you feel about this? Like that neither of the guys have a story going into Takeover, and then they just give them a little one-show story.
No,
how do you feel about it?
I think it'll continue. I think there'll be a little bit of continuation. Both Cole and Velveteen are involved in the One Worlds Collide thing, so I'm thinking they maybe face off in. There's like a battle royal at the start. There'll be something where they probably like eliminate each other, probably face each other in the bloody tournament to start with, and then I don't know. I guess maybe NXT New York. Maybe they get a one-on-one, or maybe it's another multi-man North American title match. They're both involved.
Right. See, I'm hoping that Velveteen gets called up sooner than later, man. Yeah. But yeah, I could see that playing out. I could even see them, making a pit stop by an Evolve show and having a tag team match, Undisputed Era versus Velveteen Dream and Austin Theory or something like that.
Well, Adam Cole is at Evolve 121 and 122 in February, so Velveteen could show up, could get in it.
There's a lot of really cool things that WWE can do now with all the relationships that they're building and stuff. It's pretty great. But yeah, so I thought it was cool. I also thought it was cool that they had, so this is a guy coming out and being like, "I want the North American title," but then another guy who also wants the North American title coming out and being like, "Well, hey, the line starts here, even though someone else has a match at this pay-per-view, I'm after that guy." It just makes it feel like the North American title is something that everyone really wants.
I mean, that's the whole point of pro wrestling, right? Most of it, it's either...
right? It's Wrestling 101. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Let's all get in line for this title. It's great. I love it.
One contenders match for the title. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, I like it. I like the pairing. I like Velveteen Dream as a face. I didn't really think I could see it straight away, but he's super over. And to be super over against Adam Cole, who's let's face it, he's not even really a heel to the crowd. They just love him too much. Yeah, it's good work by Dream.
And then we move on to Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. Holy crap, this match. Wow. I mean, look, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, they've been teaming together for a while now. Of course, I think it was Lorcan went down with injury.
No, Lorcan, I think he had the eye.
Lorcan with the orbital, right?
Same thing that you had, yeah.
Yeah, so, and, that sucks, and so they took a bit of time off, but, last time we saw them, they were having, world-class matches.
Yeah.
With Undisputed Era and whatnot over those titles, so, and Moustache Mountain as well, they were in there. These guys are a really solid tag team, and Bartel and Eichner, they're really getting it together really quickly as a tag team as well. So this was a really exciting match. That double springboard moonsault from Fabian Eichner was a thing of goddamn beauty.
Wasn't it? I still believe Oney Lorcan is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in the entire WWE. I think he's one of the most fantastic wrestlers, along with someone like a Drew Gulak.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And he's one that doesn't get talked about. There's two guys that came from the well, there's a couple, I guess, but two guys that came from the indies that had a really good body of work on the indies and just don't get talked about. Luke Harper, Brody Lee.
I agree with that, big time.
Yeah, and Oney Lorcan, he was Biff Busick, yeah. Biff Busick, and just nobody talks about it. Like, it's never referred to as, this guy traveled the Indies for how they never talk about it. He's just Oney Lorcan, NXT guy. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, you've got some history here that you can play up on. And I think it's a real shame to not include, the stuff that they've done in the past.
And to some degree, Drew Gulak gets it. I know he gets a little bit more airtime with 205, but still, Drew Gulak's one of those guys that he's pretty much trained half the dudes that have come through the system. And Cesaro, Cesaro, Lorcan, Gulak.
Well, they've spent time training other people at the Chikara Wrestle Factory and stuff. So, it's crazy.
But, I love them. This NXT tag division between both mainland and UK is just strong, and it's pure wrestling tag teams too. Like you got Oni and Birch, you got Barthel and Eichner, you got British Strong Style, you got Grizzled Vets, you got Gallus still there as well. You got so many teams that
you still got Street Profits dancing around like buffoons. Well, pretty soon, we might have a new incarnation of the mighty. Sex Rock might be heading towards with if Sex Rock show up as like big heater heels for Shane Thorne, and they keep doing the mighty thing, but as a 3-man shtick. Oh, dude, I think that they could. The sky's the limit for Shane Thorne as this cocky, smaller guy with these two monsters behind him. Yeah. Oh man, that could take over NXT. Like it could take NXT by storm. But let's not get back into more Australia talk. That's a bit more relevant, though, I think, because it's NXT.
Keeping on with the tag
NXT
division, but in the opposite sex.
Yeah, this is where I wanted to get to. Io Shirai and Kairi Sane are tag teaming.
Stardom
together.
Dream Team.
And yeah, they have a match here with Tanea Brooks and Amber Nova. They're just brought in to do a quick job. And Io and Kairi win. And then there's a promo that they have that gets interrupted. Like there's a backstage after the match type of thing. It gets interrupted by Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke. And all I could think through this was, man, they're heating up the women's tag division because they have these women's tag team titles, and we only have one women's tag team title being decided at Elimination Chamber, right? Just one. And the rumor is it's going to travel across all brands. So they're setting up even tag teams in NXT that these titles can be defended against. And how crazy would that be to see, say, for example, Sasha and Bayley win, and then they return home triumphantly to an NXT takeover one day to defend against the four horsewomen, against Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, only to lose them. And now Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir are called up by default, almost. Like, how crazy would that be? We're into a scenario where that could actually be, because Triple H wants us to believe that it's not just the NXT that are going to be the territory. WWE, Raw and SmackDown, they're just two other territories, which no one believes that because they're on TV, not just on the network. But, the title scene could actually make it a reality if they actually.
And there's a weird way to also get 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Imagine Ronda having, the Raw Women's title. You got Shayna with the NXT Women's title. Remember Marina and Jasmine with the women's tag title. Like that's an easy way to do 4 and 4 there. But Kairi Sane and Io Shirai tagging up is perfect. And then you got 2 girls that are currently injured on the shelf with bad injuries, so they're going to be out for at least another year. But you got Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox, who are pretty much they pretty much travel and tag together. I think they live together in the UK, in the US.
They're Team Kick. Yeah, so you could actually have the tag team titles, the women's tag team titles, operating as we talked about with a territory system where they float between all the shows, and they're getting the NXT tag teams ready. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shirai and Kairi, like I said before, Stardom Dream Team, like. You're a Stardom guy. Do they hold the Stardom titles together? Yeah.
I'm only relatively new to Stardom, so I've only gotten into Stardom sort of. I watched Io Shirai's last match and sort of her. So I got into Stardom after Kairi had already left, so I'm not too sure, but I'm fairly sure they did tag team. But but they were kind of the
Okay.
aces there, and yeah, it's definitely they go a way back, you know, and they are genuinely best friends. So it's really cool to see them teaming up more. But I really do think that they're probably just being used as a vehicle to get the 4 horsewomen more experience and also get them heated up to get them some wins.
Yeah, and interesting seeing Rebel perform on NXT as a bit of a pin eater tonight. She used to be an Impact regular as part of the I can never say the team name right. The Menagerie, was that what it was? Menagerie with Crazy
Menageries?
Steve and the Circus. The Menageries, yeah, I think. Sorry,
But then we move on. We get Dream versus Fish. Dream's evasions in this match were masterful. And then he ends up getting the relatively clean win. So, well, it was clean on his end. Adam Cole pulled the rope to stop him from getting to the ropes. The referee argues with him for a bit. And then Dream hits his, DVD elbow drop. This was a really good match for how short it was. I thought this was going to be the main event and go for longer than it did. And so I was kind of disappointed with the fact that it was such a short match, but it was really good for the time they had. And these two could have a fantastic pay-per-view match, let alone Adam Cole and Dream.
yeah, absolutely. Fish is unfortunately, I think just for me, it feels weird that it's not Fish and O'Reilly as tag champs, and Roddy should be in Fish's role in Undisputed Era, but it's all good one way or the other because Fish is awesome as well. Yeah, this is a fun match.
Yeah, definitely. And then the main event was a segment with Ricochet and Gargano. So Ricochet's basically calling Gargano a coward and a liar, and Gargano's like, "No, I'm a man with a plan." Like that's someone else's gimmick, Gargano. And they attack each other. Ricochet gets the upper hand, but gets jumped by Ciampa. The crowd chant DIY, to which I say, leave it alone. Okay, they're not getting back together. They're just doing that. They're going to tease you forever. It's not going to actually happen. And then Aleister Black comes out to even it up, and Johnny and Ciampa end up standing tall. And then as Johnny goes to shake Ciampa's hand, Candice LeRae comes out and stops him, making her once again an accessory, which bums me out. Every time I do View from the WWE Universe, I seem to say this. Candice LeRae is better than being an accessory to Johnny and Ciampa, and I hope this is new. I never said this before on View from the WWE Universe, but I hope to hell that as soon as her contract is up, she gets the F out and heads straight to AEW, where she will be treated as an actual woman in her own right, or potentially tag team with Joey Ryan and win the tag team titles in AEW. Either one is fine with me. Either one is better than this crap. But, it is what it is.
I agree with you. I like this segment. I like what they've got her doing.
Me too. I liked it right up. I liked it right up until Candice. I liked it right up until Candice came out.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Candice also needs to be a wrestler. Let her be part of the NXT UK division for now. You've lost Team Kick. So there's two, pretty high talents lost to injury. Why not get Candice over to the UK division, have her working with girls like Nina Samuels and Ginny and those sort of girls. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Where do you see this ends up with Ciampa and Gargano again? Do you see both of them being heels, both holding titles, or do you think that Candice actually turns Johnny, snaps Johnny out of this bullshit, and we finally get Johnny defeating Ciampa, or do you think
I can see them loosely allied while both holding titles, but I don't think DIY get back together. I don't think they make another run at the tags. I don't think anything silly like that. I just think that they'll be loosely allied, but it won't be it's not going to be DIY, and they'll get called up well before they end up teaming again. It's an interesting story, but at the same time, I want these guys to do something else. I'm excited about the matches coming up at TakeOver, which I guess is a good segue. Let's get into TakeOver and sort of taking a look at the matches and giving our predictions now. I think that this TakeOver, looking at the card, has the potential to be the best TakeOver of all time, match quality-wise, which is saying something, because there's been some really good TakeOvers.
Yeah, I agree with the I agree with that sentiment. I think it's going to be one of the best takeovers quality-wise for sure. This card just looks super strong. I mean, this is a card without, Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream on it. Yeah, it's a huge card, solid card. I'm really excited for this one.
Who do you think? Let's start at the bottom. Let's start with the latest addition to the card: Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Matt Riddle for this one. I don't think it'll be as quick as the first time, but I think Matt Riddle takes the win here quite easily.
No, it's about time that they have a longer match for sure.
Yeah, no, it'll be. I think it'll be a longer match, but I think Riddle will still destroy Ono by the end of it.
A better match.
Yeah, definitely be a better match than the last time.
I'm going to go with Matt Riddle to win that one as well. Then we move on to Ricochet versus Johnny Gargano. Who you got for this one?
I'm going to stick with Ricochet retaining here. I thought about Johnny probably winning his first title, but I think they're going to keep the title on Ricochet. I think at NXT Takeover New York Mania weekend, probably get another multi-man match for the NXT North American title, probably involving Cole, Velveteen, or something like that. But yeah, I think Ricochet retains.
Yeah, so I'm going to disagree with you there. I think it's time. I think it's time that heel Johnny gets the win, and he and Tommaso run with the two belts, but not necessarily completely together. So I'm picking Johnny for that one. And then we have the Undisputed Era versus War Raiders. Got to think Undisputed Era retain, right?
Undisputed Era and War Raiders. I think this is going to be one that's... I actually think War Raiders do pick up their first title win here.
Really?
Although they want to have Undisputed Era looking strong this year. But no, I'm going to go with War Raiders. I think War Raiders could surprise people and naturally pick up the victory here.
Interesting. I think Undisputed Era retain.
Yeah, it's more than likely that Era do retain, but I just think War Raiders for me.
I just think they're such a strong team, and when you talk about strong champions as well, Shayna Baszler has been the strongest champion in a long, long time, but I think it's also time for her to lose. I think Bianca Belair remains undefeated. Sorry, let me do it right. Bianca Belair remains undefeated and picks up the women's title.
Yeah. Yeah, for the NXT women's title match, I think I'm going to go with Belair as well. I think Belair wins, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Baszler rock up in the Women's Royal Rumble as well.
But what do you think for... That'd be fantastic to see her show up in the Royal Rumble. I never even thought of that, but 100% Shayna Baszler is a good choice for the Rumble spot. Now, who do you think wins the main event? So we've got Tomato Ciampa, as my daughter calls him, versus Aleister Black. I'm going with Tommaso here. I think, like I said, Tommaso and Johnny reign at the top.
Yeah, Tommaso retains. I don't think Tommaso loses that title until Mania weekend. I think someone finally gets him there. I'm not too sure who that will be. But I think Ciampa loses at Mania weekend.
The one thing I'll say about this takeover is that the build for this card hasn't been the most exciting. I really think that they're relying on the fact that the card is so strong that the build just didn't need to be strong. Like they're just sort of relying on the matches as matches.
Well, I think that's the thing with NXT or NXT UK. These cards are so strong match quality wise that it's so easy to build. You only need one or two segments in the space of 4 or 5 weeks to put it over, and it's a credit to the entire NXT team on both brands. It's so easy to build these NXT takeover cards. It's just match quality and the match options are just perfect.
Yeah, which is great because they can do other things on TV and get more characters on as sort of support roles, so that it's not oversaturating with the main eventers.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then also, like with them working with Evolve, I mean, you got last week you had Gargano, James Drake or JD Drake, who's a WWN champ, Street Roberts, Fabian Eichner, they were all involved last week, and they're building Evolve guys up and making those guys look good. This roster is just so deep that it's just looking good.
Yeah, definitely. I really do like the way they're building NXT with all the relationships and stuff that they've got going on. But that's about all we have time here for, Mikey. We've reviewed the shows, we've previewed the takeover. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at bigboy_Mikey86 on the Twitter and the Instagrams.
And I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else except for Patreon, where we are simply www.patreon.com/the B Plus. If you want to get in on our mission of watch global, support local, that is the place to do it. Please support our sponsors as well that you've heard throughout this show. And yeah, if you really want to support us directly, that's the best way to do it on Patreon. There are some really cool rewards for that one. Our first ever custom episode has been recorded. It has been posted. It'll be coming out for public consumption soon. But that's the thing. If you're on Patreon, you would have already heard it because you get those bonus episodes straight away as a Patreon subscriber, and you even get to tell us what to do. But that's enough plugging. Let's go home. If you like what we do, please give us a 5-star review. And thank you so much for listening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
So, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it. Dummy. Hold three. The Moss